Previous video, I talked about how to find and then rip a research article. And so a research article may be between 10 and 20 single-spaced pages, which may represent about an hour to 2 hours of reading. So ripping is trying to get the main idea away from it, like kind of pulling out the main idea in a very short amount of time. So you're saving about 90% of time by ripping a research article, but a book, especially if it's a dense philosophical or scholarly text, may take 10 hours, 15 hours of reading. So ripping one of those would be a considerable advantage, or being able to rip one. So I got this book from a co-researcher who thought it was promising for our study, but she started reading it and found it to be a little dense. And I sort of expected that because a lot of humanities scholars live in theoretical orientations with really dense vocabulary, and they're mostly talking to each other, and they use this highly specialized and dense vocabulary. So if you don't know it, it can make it really difficult to understand what they're talking about. So the first step, of course, is to understand the language, the vocabulary, familiarize yourself with it. It's kind of like learning a new language. Chances are I'm familiar with at least some of these interpretive schemes. So I'm going to take a look. This is my first time looking at this book, and I wanted to talk about the whole process of ripping with a book. So the first thing I'm going to do when I look at a book is see who published it. So we have digital access to this book through our website, and it looks like there's also a function which allows AI to interpret it for me. I'm not going to use AI to interpret what the book is talking about because I don't trust AI to synthesize information well. I think there's a good chance they will misunderstand nuanced vocabulary. So it looks like it was published by Emerald Publishing, which I do not know. I've never heard of it. So I guess what I would actually do is run a search for Emerald Publishing. It's the world's leading digital first publisher, commissioning, curating, and showcasing research. So already I'm not liking the reputation of Emerald Publishing. I could probably, so look, here's an academia Reddit forum talking about the quality. Just the fact that people are asking questions about it. It's not a publisher that is well known or has a good reputation. So already I'm not going to use this in a way that will inform my understanding. I'm going to see if the analysis was done well, and if so, I might learn something from that. So let's go back. Already, I'm a little uneasy about this publisher. And I don't know what the peer review practice is. It could just be that they want to sell lots of books, and so if you're willing to, if you've got a manuscript and you want to get a publication, you just send it to them and they sell it for you. I'm going to jump to the introduction, and that's where I'm going to focus most of my time because, at least with academic publishing, an introduction should be a pretty thorough overview of what you're going to accomplish. So let's see. All right, so 21st century, most culturally visible tattoo renaissance. Get my photo out of here. More popular than ever. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so we've got chapter overviews, which I might go back to. So it's a really concise introduction. Alright, so this book examines these popular cultural and media representations of tattooing and will not only explore the ways in which they reflect, but also contribute to the visibility of tattooing within contemporary culture. Accordingly, superhero films feature tattooed characters, television genres, tattoo-themed shows, With reference to contemporary celebrity culture, media figures like Post Malone are literally changing the face of tattooing. I don't like the way this is written. It's just, I think, lazy. Tattoos in popular culture looks at representations and communication of tattoos and tattoo cultures in relation to film, television, social media, and celebrity culture. Blah, blah, blah. The theme of subcultures constitutes a persistent thread throughout the book, as does the idea of tattoos constituting an alternative communal grouping. Okay. I think I've seen enough. My takeaway is this, and this happens sometimes. Some books are kind of a dud. I would include this in a literature review, but I wouldn't describe it at all. I would just give it as an example of scholars. I'd have to look up who this is and see if they qualify. But scholars, now I'm like worried that someone who wrote it's going to watch this and think I'm being overly critical, but this is my takeaway. I would sort of reference it as an example of scholars who have looked at pop culture and how tattoos manifest. So among athletes and reality television, musicians and stars. So like that exists, that's out there. I'm not sure it's going to inform what we're talking about. Oh, I see Gen Z up here, millennials, which are not forefront using tattoos as biographical symbols, but also often looked at popular culture for taboo inspirations. I'm doubtful of the quality of these analyses, so I'm going to caution my co-researchers from like leaning too heavily on it. And then if we see the same themes come up elsewhere, perhaps we'll revisit it. But that didn't take very long. It didn't take 10 hours of reading. What I did was review the introduction, a little bit about the book itself, which started pointing me down this path of being uneasy about using it. So this would be very different if it was published by, say, Routledge or Cambridge University Press. And I would expect a much different introduction, much tighter writing style, clearer analysis, and maybe a little bit more elaboration on what the contribution is. So it's kind of vague. So I hope this helps in what some of the first steps will be when you try to rip a book.